they move from the light. Am I even real, even real? Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me. Feet glued to the floor, I'm not moving anywhere. Lost inside of a crowd that couldn't care less. Everything was moving so fast. Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me. Time moves on and on. Can I stomach it? Can I stomach it? Where did I go wrong? My fear builds an appetite, but time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me. I don't wanna risk it all again. It always goes much better in my head, but the feelings end up wasted. So I'm sorry for breaking down when you said you got me. I'm used to being let down, but I'm hoping if I'm falling too fast, then you'll catch me. You'll catch me. So I'm sorry that you might have to see I'm not flawless. I promise that I'm facing my problems. If I'm falling too fast, will you catch me? Will you catch me before I crash?
Okay, good morning. I am taking the weekend to get back into this project a bit. I did a little bit of finagling, it looks like. And so we are in a weird place. I think the game pretty much would function if I got rid of whatever is causing these. Maybe I was redesigning some new system along the way and just stopped. There's only 24 hours in a day, sadly. So, the goal of today, we're going to pick up where we left off a little bit. I have some ideas for how we're going to take care of damage. And I started doing some, on a separate project, a system around this new amorphous concept in my head about what I want damage to do. I put pen to paper already on it. It looks good, but it's time to put it into the fire and see what happens. It's going to be a new targeting system. It's supposed to be heavily optimized compared to what we already built. Let's get started. Already over here, we can see we have some weird shenanigans happening with our scripts. Looks like I'm still using my multi-scene workflow here. So the beauty of having this scene, so I've abused this scene. Like coming back and looking at this, I kind of abused this scene. This scene doesn't need to have all of this. And really, I kind of want to just start from the ground up on this, because I think there is a way to deal with this where we kind of respect what this is supposed to be about. But it's a dangerous gamble, because there are things here that really should probably remain here, right? So for example, I put everything here, like my enemies and so on. And then I put only my, let's call it my geometry, or geography. Same thing. In this context, it's the same thing in this scene. So there's really nothing here. There are no enemies in this scene or anything. This is the actual scene that you're looking at. The enemies would be in the persistent scene, and they're just moving around doing their own thing. I did this actually early on just as a way to show, because one of the big questions that I always got in Unity from a lot of developers was, how do I communicate across different scenes? So I had done that early on to show, well, this is how you can effectively communicate things between scenes, even if you have those scenes working at the same time, which is a more complex way of showing how to handle communication between scenes that aren't even loaded yet. And that's kind of why I did it this way, just to like have the enemies, but really the enemies should be in this scene also, because when we get rid of all of this, we want to also get rid of all of the enemies in this. We don't need like the weapons and so on. We really don't need all of that information to be stored persistently. It again was just to show that this can be done. It might be another day's issue if I wanted to completely divorce these things from this scene and put them here. And it might actually be really simple, because there might be not so much there might not be a lot of rewiring. I just need to find out like what's storing the player reference. And I think the enemy manager can work perfectly fine no matter what scene things are in. With that said, we have refined a lot of the classes that we've used here in just the last 5 months on separate projects that we've worked on. And we're going to implement those. So let's get rid of these first. Heal ability class. What about it? It doesn't implement something that's abstract. Okay, let's do that. Is that it? Heal info also. So to do this, all I do is I just go here, right click on the, so this is on this IDE, alright? So it should be similar for most, but we just right click, we go to quick action refactoring, and then we just implement the abstract, and boom, we're done. And something about it's trying to return a type. For now, we'll just do return new. Okay. It looks like we were in the middle of implementing these. Modify health, modify... I'm not sure what these are exactly. Let's find out. Combatant. Combatant. I see. Yeah, let's do it this way. So, I believe, I mean, I wrote stuff down to help me remember when I came back to this. So that's a good thing. It looks like we split the damage up between physical, mystical, and then if it's a critical. I don't like this anymore. Or it looks like that's what we were planning on doing. But I don't like this any longer. How should I put this? I believe what I want to do is I want to lock damage behind the damage type, not the modifiers that apply the damage. I think this was the wrong direction to go. Right? So here it looks like we pre-calced the physical damage from here, when really what we should be doing is we should be looking at the damage type involved in this. And each damage type should generate its own damage info when we apply that damage. And can we make this a struct easily? Or what is this? This is an abstract class. Do we need this abstract class? What else is using this? Heal info. Okay, so damage and then heal. Okay. I don't think we could do this, but let's just try it. Yeah, no good. Oops. Because there's not really much, and do we gain any benefits from using combat info flow? We just enforce apply. Alright, I got an idea. We're going to turn this into this. Okay, that's a good first step. The next thing is probably... So it looks like we wanted to keep the body part damage here. And the mystical overflow, that becomes healing. Okay. So, yeah. I know that we're going to store the damage type in the ability, so... So the way that the rule that I wanted to set is, let's say that you equip a fire sword and you attack with the fire sword, but the ability is like a water ability. The damage from the fire sword doesn't apply to the water ability. Right? So in the end, abilities dictate. Like, that's the rule that I had to set. Abilities are going to dictate what type of damage you're actually doing, not the weapon and not what the player is using. So if you use a water ability with a fire weapon, what will happen is it'll actually lower the amount of damage that you do with the water ability. In that, like, it's just an idea, right? Like, if we put these two things together, they might not work. The offset of this is if you just have really strong fire abilities. Then the amount of impact it could have could just overall bump things up. Hey, good morning, Nick. How are you doing, man? Oh, wow, what the heck? Wow, you're taking your habits everywhere, huh? Good morning, though. Let's see. Why are we even in here? I think we just comment this out because we're just trying to get the regular game to work. Hold on. But we can do this part, which is to turn this into a struct now. We should be able to. Yep, there we go. And we could do the same here. I can respect that. I missed yesterday's stream. Man, I'm telling you, time flies. Time really flies. But I missed Roman's stream yesterday. I realized it after, and then I saw... It looked like it was a good stream, though. Like, he was at it for a while. But, just time, brother. I didn't even realize what time it was. By the time I was done, it was already, like... I think it was 2 hours after the stream had finished, and I was like, oh, what time of the day is it? That sucked. But I'm pretty sure it was fun. Okay. So this should be fine. There's still 2 exceptions. What are they? Right. Does that even exist anymore? Oh, it does. Where is it? That's great to hear, brother. That is great to hear. 5 Nights at Freddy. Alright, cool beans. Heal info. What is this? This can't be null anymore, so it has to be default. So this is another little trick. When you're dealing with structs can't be null. They can so the way to get around that is just to make them default. This, depending on your architecture, can be a little bit rough to deal with. Because it won't... When you're doing null checks against structs, they just don't work as well. So it's always pays. Like, the only reason I'm doing it here is just to fill this in. But generally, we don't use default for these methods that are going to return a value. We want these to return null or something. So to get around this, what I usually do is I do something like Well, actually, we could get away with this now, right? Where is it? iCombat flow info. Or actually, we could just do T. Let's see. Well, stream avatars is good. Five Nights at Freddy. God awful movie in terms of movies in general. Bad writing, atrocious exposition, insanely unrealistic character dialogue. I especially hate the ending. I wish it didn't exist, but a good Nights at Freddy. Okay. You can tell Scott was the only writer this time around. Yeah. More than one person, and it took more than one person to build Rome, right? Rome wasn't built by just Caesar. And he wasn't ended by just him either. Let's see. Actually, that's a good question, Nick. When was the last time you thought about Rome? Let's see. So we can just do something like... Actually, we have to write this out. So... Oh, I see. Can I do it this way? Darn it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay. I was trying to narrow. So what I was trying to do here is narrow down the amount of possible things that could come into this. But the only way to do that would be to extend this out to take in a box definition, which I don't want to do. It kind of defeats the purpose for what I intend to use with this later. So it's best to just leave this as is. Right? So now we can do something like... Well, I don't know what I was going to throw in here. So... Oh, we have an example here. So we can do this, and then we could do something like that to be able to compare the types that we're passing in. This is a compiler level call, so super fast. Don't worry about it. No location. We're good. And then we could just do something like this. Right. We do the calculation. We set the result to be equal to calc, and we return true. Otherwise, we return false, and we set result to be equal to default. Now the question is... Oh, calc.generate. But we have to... Interesting. Why is that working? Damage info. Oh, whoops. Okay, so T is equal to the type of damage info. We do the calculation. We get the... Let's instead call this the source and the target. There we go. So now this should produce this. So we can then do something like this. If this isn't working, we can just do if calc generate is t. Can I just do that? No, we can't. Okay. Or let's call it converted. Result is equal to the converted, and we return true. There we go. Why are you still crying? Oh, because there's no override target. But this is basically how you would set something like this up. This is more generalized than create damage and create healing, so we can probably just get rid of these now. And then we just need to create the override for this. And really, we don't need T here anymore because we have iCombat info, so we can just pass this iCombat flow info. T is good because we at least get that back, right? Yeah, okay, never mind. Let's keep that there. T is good because then we don't have to unbox this later. Which is just a nice thing to have. So this way is super lightweight. This way was super lightweight. This way, there's one layer of unboxing, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm willing to pay that cost if it just means we only have to do this method in one place. If it becomes a problem, like if I see hits on damage numbers popping up or stuff like that, we'll look at this again. But for now, this looks like it's fine. And it gives us this bool. So this is the reason, this is what I call a pass-by script. Effectively, when we put something like this into play, it's a little bit dangerous because we can potentially pass through something without ever knowing that there wasn't actually an issue, like we made a miss. So what we do in that case is actually, we can do something like this. Now this leads into, I think, what separates a novice, not a novice, I shouldn't say novice, a intermediate programmer or architectural designer from a person who has now gotten into, okay, we're doing this, this is a job, this is professional. We throw stuff like this. You start seeing stuff like this show up all over the code now. Actually, let's do it this way, because I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Let's just do a regular exception then. Now, this is something they teach you at the very beginning. The problem is that folks seem to abandon it early stages as you're going through the learning struggles, but then you pick it back up later on as you get back into it and you get more confident about the rest of your code, that now you say, okay, this is going to be a pain point, let me just throw an exception here just in case. And this isn't apart from like a debug, right? In the debug, we are testing to find out where things are happening. This is kind of doing the same thing, but this is intentionally put there to always catch this, even during normal play. Debugs are supposed to be removed in normal play. If we ever get here, in other words, this is a bad thing. It means our system failed in other places, and we got here somehow. So let's say that we haven't finished combat source info, so let's not work on that yet. But basically, we're going to come back here. Okay, so we have accept system. All right, there. So now, the benefit of this had always been, well, we get true or false on this, right? So the point, oh, whoops, there we go. The point is that this is, if you're not sure about this path, this is what you would normally do. But we are sure about this path, so we're just going to be doing this. All right? And again, the benefit of this is we would prevent code paths because this is a Boolean. We'd return false on this if we didn't want to execute on the code path. The downside of doing something like that is instead of throwing this exception here, we would do this outside of this method. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but yeah, basically we designed this intentionally as a pass-by. So we just pass right by this code. And then if we do care to like debug it, we can always do like an else statement outside of this. I'll show the use case so it becomes easy, I think. But we do need to go and implement this at the ability asset layer. We can get rid of these. Okay, there we go. So I'm keeping these commented for now because I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them again. But I feel like this is good enough. Healing is going to have healing stuff. Why do we have more exceptions now than we did before? Nicked, well, if you could tell Scott about Rome in player okay, hold on. About Rome. In player open guesser last week for a moment, and I had a spawn in Rome. I guessed Spain. I played okay. I played nice autocorrect. With each game Roman makes, I lose a little bit of sanity, but I learned to work around bad code and mods. And yeah, man, modding is huge. Like modding, if modders are some of the most talented people you'll have to deal with, or you'll ever deal with. Like the ability to go and debug somebody else's code and then extend on that, that's like absolute sadomasochism. Like it's it's a bit, but it's really cool that, and I've seen some really talented work from that. Like people create, like effectively, there's a game called Crusader Kings 3 that the modding, I'm not saying Crusader Kings has bad code, far from it. Like I can say that they have a very liberal use of a heavy memory reliance on in their game. You can tell right away the moment you open it up, everything is in memory. So you know that a lot of things are just stored there for use. But they've made access points for all of that stuff. So it's already a strong platform to then manipulate that data off of. But at the same time, it's like, well, if everything knows about everything else, we have to hope that, you know what I mean? So that tells you the original code was really powerful. Let's see. Okay. So I needed to make this class. Well, we're not going to actually make that today. This... Why is it crying about healability? Namespace healability could not be found. Interesting. Healability is right here. Healing ability. Okay. No, it's healing ability. What? Interesting. We'll figure that out. Is this looking for something specific? Oh, it's the ability asset. Before the wind takes the rest. Hold the gold, not the glitter on the crest. You keep reaching for the sky while the ground slips clean. Wait 1 second. What did we just change? We just changed the info, right? Yeah, combat info. We turned that into a struct. So this is still a class, and it's an ability asset, and it's the heal ability. Oh, it's this. Okay. What is missing here? We have the constructor. There's something off here. There is something off here. Where is it? I think it's this. There we go. No, that's not right. That's fine, that's fine. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now these other ones should be working. Yep, there we go. So now this doesn't work anymore. So to fix this, we just do something like this. Var heal is now going to be equal to ability dot, or rather, what we're going to do is if ability dot try and we put healing info, heal info rather. There we go. Now we put the healer and put the healee up. And what do we need? Out for healing. What are you crying about? There we go. Right? And now we can just dump this in here and we passed by. So if for some reason we fail to be able to create this method, we don't need to worry about any kind of allocation or anything like that. It'll just ignore us and keep going. So we can get rid of this. And that's the idea. Instead of having two different methods, we just have one. That's kind of what I was shooting for. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know what to classify. Maybe it's just when you have a goal and you can, like, I don't know. Sometimes you feel like people are just, like, instead of making a massive computer in Minecraft, maybe you could have, like, I don't know, figured out the cure for all cancer or something. Because I think it takes just about as much brain power and effort and will. Like that, refocus that energy towards, like, I don't know, something that is going to be have a broader effect than just creating a YouTube video. like, like I see some things that people do, and it's like, holy cow, that's freaking amazing. Like, how much energy did that just take? Like, I have to look at that and just shake my head at like the the tenacity behind. Not even shake my head. That's the wrong. It's just utterly impressive, right? It's just incredible. Like, not just the result, but the tenacity behind it is incredible. We're just going to comment this part out. I really have no time to be doing all of it. Wait, we can fix this one easy. We can fix this easy. We can just do this. Okay, that looks good. Alright, we need to get the other... Give me 1 second. I'm going to be making this, actually. I said I wasn't going to, but it doesn't take much to do it, because I already have the code elsewhere. Hold on a second. Like, I had made a better version of it, and I knew I was going to call it game assets, and I knew that I wanted to have these be, like, something with the suffix asset. So, like, there's game asset, game assets, ability asset, things like that, and that's how I wanted to do it. So effectively, these are supposed to be, or these are going to become scriptable objects later. Alright, let's get that. Alright, let's go look for that other piece of code somewhere here. Did I open it, or no? I think this is it. Oh. I think this is it. Huh. I've made this script like 15 times, so I forgot already like which one is which. Like, there's always, every time that I make it, I make a better version of it. Okay. This looks like it. Does it use... Yeah, it does. It uses longs. So this is the one that... I recall the last one that I did use longs. So this has to be it. So we don't use asset data. What do we use? We use game asset. So let's get this out of here. Asset collection. There we go. How much money do you have, Nick? Because logical redstoners. Oh wait. As a redstoner, logical redstone is just working with custom built logic gates. Wait, what? Okay, it moved. Okay. As a redstoner, logical redstone is just working with custom built logic gates to do pretty much anything you could do IRL with logic gates. Because logic redstoners, I tell you, almost none of them know what a piston does. The farming and piston door sub communities are about deep game mechanics and only know the basic logic stuff. Bigger projects like a Subtic custom music player that blend both of these, for example, the Maestro, brilliant pieces of tech need many people. I see. Yeah, you're loaded already. I don't need to worry about you. 1 second. You are loaded. I'll drop these for you just in case you need them, but here you go. Knock yourself out, brother. Okay, let's see. Okay, I need to bring my asset generator property as well. So we can't use asset data for these. We have to use, what was it? Our game asset is what we call them. One sec. Not a fan of this style. There we go. Asset data. Okay, there we go. Just looking for validate asset and the game asset ID. Let's look at what I originally did. Where is this thing? I was super detailed on this stuff. Holy cow, what the heck was up with? Like, I was on a different kind of mentality when I made this script. I must have had a very lucid moment. One sec, let's go back over here. That's crazy. Where is it? Okay. So we need to go and look at core assets in assets. These are game assets. You can see where I was originally, like, that's what happens. Sometimes I just write things over again to see where it leads. Artlib doesn't exist in this project, so I need to get rid of this. Or at least those calls of Artlib don't exist in this project. This is a Unity engine object. Okay, so now we have game ops assets. We do not have find in that. We have get. And now we can do get t. What are we looking like down here? Still have 8. Every single time I clean up stuff, I have 8 left. It's crazy. Interesting. Assets, game asset. Yeah, it's right here. Asset data ID. Game asset ID. Interesting. Why does... We need to bring that over, the asset property generator. Apparently I made a class called Game Asset Base. What is this? Game Asset Base. Is that this? No. Well, whatever. We'll bring over the property generator. We have to bring the whole thing. Oh, wait, what? There we go. This is a Unity editor path, I'm pretty sure, right? Oh, I think it's System IO. Is it? Yep, there it is. Okay. Okay, good stuff. We're down to 6 errors. Who's missing? File. Okay, so what is this now? What is this call? Find assets. T. This is a Unity editor call? Like, I'm absolutely unfamiliar with this. It's been a while. What is this? Load assets at path. Game asset. This has to, I thought this would be like a... I mean, we'll try System IO. It's not. Did I make a new class for doing this? No, no, don't see it. Interesting. I lost my earrings together. I should have went black. I don't know. Wait, you can lose items if you lose your gamble? Like, that's a little bit too much. I think that's a little bit too much. I did not expect that. Oh, okay. I thought you would actually like be able to like wager things that you own also. That would have been like crazy. I don't know what this class is. I'm like absolutely lost on this. What is game asset base? When did I make it? I have to open up the other project. Give me a second. Cause it's like, oh wait, I could find it this way. Nope, we have to open up the project. Okay, one sec. I usually have like a second project that is just like dedicated to testing out random features without trying to implement them proper. So just to see if the logic, if I can get to the end of the logic of what I have in my head. And then I go ahead and try to implement it in a project later. It's be weeks, months, whatever. Like another thing that I want to try to do is, I forget the name of it. It's a UI element though, but it's rough in my head how to do it. Like I know that what I want to do is use transforms, rect transform positions, and then have those be like anchor points. And so it would create a graph based on those rect anchor points, and we would draw another rect over that, which would then create this graph effectively. See. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Birthday parties, laughing till we froze. Someone got locked in the freezer, that's just how it goes. Very bad mountains, colors on the plate, inflatable sofa that never stayed straight. Round and twist reruns that made no sense. Cartoon Connection, cheese TV, mornings.
Okay, there we go. I was like, nothing's using this.
Movie nights with mates, living out teen dreams. Yo, spinning tricks like what coolers can be.
Asset data.
Turned into what we
stat.
see. Sneaking magazines just to get a cheeky look. No phones, no stress, just a world off the hook. Take me back to the 90s, where the good times roll. Before the world got busy and we all got old. Super Nintendo with the crew, facing on the floor.
Interesting. Okay. So that asset generator that I just took was not the one that I should be using, it looks like. Let's just grab this. And I'm going to bring it over to the other project. Where is it? That's the problem when you do stuff like this on the side. It's... you don't know which ones are good and which ones were just failure attempts. So I'm just going to grab this. Just by like looking at the code, you have to like open up the script to see it. The project.
What's on your mind?
Okay, so is this the same as this? Yes. All right, so we're good here. So as far as this goes, the asset property generator is fine. So then what about this? Oil gauge. That's weird. Properties. Gotcha. Okay. This is what I'm looking for. Asset collection. Is this the one that I'm using right now? This looks like the same thing. So then what is this game assets? Oh, ho, ho. I see what happened. I see it. Okay. Okay, I see what happened. There is no class. This got written over because asset data is in the name. When I did the override. Okay, that should deal with it. Okay, perfect. So let's close this other project. And let us... Copy paste is nice, but sometimes it's a little too nice. Okay, so let's go back to this. Let's see what happens. We should have gotten rid of... We started off with 4, turned it into 8, did a backflip, and a barrel roll. So let's see. There we go. Alright, I have no idea what state this game is in. But this is kind of just to get an idea. Interesting. But I don't have the ability to target anything. I can still try to attack me. Can I attack? Yeah, we can. Okay. Okay, we can still attack. Movement still works fine. Enemies are doing that random thing where they, like, do this weird thing now. When they lose track of me. So I need to create an idle state for them to, like, just do other things. Right? Like, because when they lose track of me, they just stay still. So I need to give them something to do. Like, right now they're, like, in between. Should they target me? Should they target somebody else? They don't know. So when I come back, I'll be back again. But let's deal with one issue at a time. First thing is we need to get targeting back. Right? And I think that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a new targeting system for this. So they can target me just fine. But they share a similar targeting system to what I was originally using. Yeah, let's get, because we're missing their health bars and everything, so we need to bring that back. Okay, let's get back. I guess we should also check if the open world is still working before we get into this. Let's save. Let it unload the scene. Oh, wait, no, we have to keep that around. We just need to unload this one. And world scene. I don't even know what's going to happen here. I don't even know if this shows or anything. I forgot altogether. Oh, I'm falling. Why am I falling? Am I falling? Yeah, I'm falling. Oh, I'm controlling the wrong player. So let's turn the player off real quick, because I think there's a second player that should... Yeah, there's this one. So I'm still, like, controlling this one. I forgot how I'm supposed to get to this scene, but whatever. I think I need to change a setting somewhere else to let it know that I'm supposed to spawn in the world. Okay, here we go. I can't move anywhere. Interesting. Yeah, I think I just need to see how far I can zoom out. This is about it. I can't click on anything to go anywhere. But it looks like it's doing stuff. It'd be cool, like, if I make it so, like, if you get to these areas, you start to see, like, little bits of snow come down. Like, just weather effect, right? Like, if you go to these areas, you get the leaves, maybe, or more sunlight in deserty areas, and a bit more, like, gloomy, maybe rainy in certain other areas. I'll look into that. I can't move. Okay. So that could just be a setting. Like, it shouldn't have broken. So we just need to find where that was. Probably in the game manager somewhere. Where is it? Managers. Or you just have to, like, tell the game manager. So we're going into build state on this. I think this is just going to lead me to the splash screen. What happens here? Stupidity. Okay. I might have to do, like, an update. Not sure what the heck that was about. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Unity has to load in the assets. Okay, there we go. The lighting is off. Null reference exception. There we go. Okay. Okay. I like that UI pop, though. I'm going to do that one more time. That was actually pretty fun. One sec. Let me disable this. There we go. Like I said, I think a lot of the stuff that's here probably needs to go. So we're going to handle that at some point. Like, why is this showing? Because it's over here. Now it goes away. Okay, good. But now it shows again. Interesting. Why is that showing? Where is it? It has to be under manager somewhere, probably. Canvases, yeah. There we go. There's a ton of little things. We got our little UI here. Got a little shader effect going on in the background. Like, that animation is actually pretty cool.
You know I don't play right. Just give me the word.
Interesting. Okay.
You know I don't play right.
What did I get to with
Give me
this?
this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
Okay, whatever.
Play right.
Alright. Let's go back to... We have a bunch of work to do on this.
You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right.
Let's go to editing, and
I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
we need to... Yeah, there's like a lot of little side things that I had done. I'm just looking through them real quick. Like right now we're redoing, you know what, it's actually a good thing. We can get through these. That's cool. Okay. Let's reopen this, the arboreal map. It's weird, when I first started this project up, there was a gentleman who showed up a bit early on, and it was like there was a pressure that was on from him to make new maps. I was like, I literally just started the project. This is like the first map that I had made, so I just spent the time and made a couple of maps. But I really ended up liking this arboreal one, so I just stuck with it.
I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
Interesting. Okay. I don't think that's legit. There we go. Okay, alright, let's get to work. We're having a little bit too much fun with that. But I did get a really good idea of where I was now with this. Bear with me. Okay. It always feels like when you come back to this that you're behind wherever you left off. Just a little bit. I think we're going to redo the foundations of this game. Now hear me out. I have this new idea for how I want to handle damage. Actually, Roman had come up with this damage stuff, and I was like, oh man, I was just thinking about damage. And I had written out like this. Actually, it's over here somewhere. I had written out this thing a while ago. Where is it? There's massive notation on just like where I wanted to go, so I never forgot. So basically, the way that I'm thinking it should work is after we apply the modifiers to specific ability. So let's look at it like this. The player has physical attack and mystical attack. Like, those are the two parameters, right? There's then a bunch of, just a whole whopping heap of damage types. I'm making it with the intent that if it's to be modded later, that mods can just come in and basically just at a whim create, or even like maybe there's a mode in the game that will just allow for the making of additional damage types, right? And so you can kind of like create your own attacks in a way. So the idea is that the damage type comes with a potency. That potency is like a percentage. So when you do damage, let's say that your power, your basic attack power is 1. When you go to the damage type that's selected for the ability that you're using, that ability can have, like, let's say slashing or piercing, bludgeoning, fire, whatever. The idea is, if that ability has, let's say, fire, then the ability comes with let's say it's slashing, just to make it simpler. That ability doesn't actually care about what weapon is used with it. when it's calculating damage for damage's purposes, right? What it cares about is its own potency and your physical attack power, right? Actually, I think we're just going to get rid of magical attack power altogether. I think we're just going to have one stat and call it power. So, because we're going to have something else that's going to split things up later. But the idea is the ability will have, let's say it's slashing. And then it will just look at your power and then multiply that ability's potency. So let's say the potency is 100. Or, sorry, is 100%. That would mean that you're just doing your straight damage when you attack with that ability. Like, there's no reductions from the ability itself when you do it. That's at the baseline. Then we examine the weapon that you're using. Well, actually, before we examine the weapon, we look at... Because, again, we're dealing with slashing. So, we look at your potency with that damage type, right? Like, how good are you at using, or how strong is your slashing damage type, basically? Like, how proficient are you? And the various things will increase your proficiency in this. And then we apply that to the damage on top of the potency. So these are additive. So we take the power, we take the potency, and then we take all of these modifiers. So the potency, let's say it's 1. Your proficiency is another 1, so now it's 2. Your weapon lethality, right? So the weapon's lethality is another modifier. So we add that to it also. So let's say that that's like another 1, so it's 3. So if you attack with that ability, at a baseline, you're going, and you had 1 power, at a baseline you're going to be doing 3 damage. Then after that damage is calculated, right? Like, that's with all of the modifiers. The next thing that we have to check is, well, actually, instead of getting 1 from the weapon that you're using, you need to find out, hey, does this weapon's type match the ability? If the weapon's type matches, you'll get the full Gamult. If the weapon type doesn't match, then you'll get like 50% of what the weapon can do with that ability. Right? And that's the complexity right there. And then the player themselves obviously has their proficiency that's already considered into that. Right? And that's for like physical attacks. That's how physical attacks work. The non-physical attacks, which is kind of why I had them separated here, but I think power's a good stat to have for both of them. But non-physical attacks, like fire and stuff like that, the players themselves have their own, let's say, element or energy type. And they effectively have all of them. They can be more can be added later and stuff like that, but think of it kind of like a series of values that are all trying to get to the median, but you can have them being out of whack. So the highest one that you have will try to it works mostly for defense, but also for offense when it comes to magic. So if you have really high fire, then it'll basically be like an addition on top of your proficiency for fire when you apply the fire damage. And that's how it works. And similarly, if you're hit with fire and your fire is stronger than your opponent's fire, and so on. Status effects, as written here, basically, it's more about like body part damage. So I'm not going to get into that now, but that's the high-level idea of where I think I want to go with this. So in order to do that, I think I might need to reset a couple of things about this structure. So let's do that reset. The very first thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at we want to take a look at our assets that we have towards our stats, because we might be able to reuse some things. So let's go here. You know what? Let's break everything first, because we have to break the core of this, which is our asset collection system, because we're going to be using a new asset collection. Let me just double check this. This is a pretty big step, right? These are all of our scripts. These are our SOs. So, like, everything that's like this, that we see like this, is about to be broken. Let me see if I can somehow salvage things. Item data. Interesting. Okay. Past me. Actually. Past me was kind of interesting. So, what if we did this? Let's start by going over to the combat manager and plucking out. So I'll show, I mean, this is another little thing that you can do with just this IDE in Unity. So you see, like, I put all of these classes into this one script. Well, we want to pluck these out now, right? Like, we don't want these to be here. Like, I want this to have its own script. So we can just go here. I'm going to uncomment this real quick. And just do... go again to quick refactorings, and then we just move it to its own script. Sadly, this didn't go with it. And sadly, my IDEs decided that it didn't want to open it. What happened? I think this is another script. Let's close all of these other ones. We don't want those open. Asset. There we go. That's a new one. Okay. Make a small change somewhere. There we go. Okay, good. All right. So this is our asset generator now. This will be... There we go. Will be inside of Unity. Only. And I'm debating if I should make this a mono behavior now. Not this. The does it make sense? No, it doesn't. Okay, we're gonna keep it the way we have it. All right, next. Game assets. So we are going to do this. So we're just going to take this out here also. Move to type game assets. Yep, there we go. Just do that. Okay. Where are you? Over here. That's game asset. Sure. We'll just do a search for it this way. Oh, we can do it over here, right? There's a get call I do further up. I mean, I'm not 100% sold that I should start in this position, but where the heck is it? It's down here somewhere. Is it over here? No. Let's see. Control F, get. There it is. Okay. So this is the reason why I'm doing this. I wanted to convert the lookup process from a string to a long. And what we're doing is, in order to generate these longs, instead of throwing that generation process inside of the class, we throw it here. So this prevents accidental rebuilds of the information, unless we have to be very explicit about it. It's also just faster, so it's better to do it this way. Granted, it's kind of the same thing, because I believe that dictionaries convert whatever is over on the key side into a hash anyway. But yeah, this whole script is much leaner than the original one that I had written almost a year ago now. Let's go, if you guys want me to go over it, like how to make something like this, but what this is called is an asset locator. It will basically just allow us to register specific assets into the game automatically, and this allows us to then look up those assets anywhere else in our project. So like, let's say you have an ability or a stat or whatever from somewhere else, you can just pull that up really quickly, and it's super fast. It's all a lookup process. Do I need to do this? I don't think I do. We're gonna do this though. So this is good to do this before you do the builds for your game, just to be sure that you're not throwing in random stuff that you don't want your players to be able to have access to. Right? So these don't get built with your game when you push. Okay, next, as well as some things that you just can't be built anyway. Okay, next. So now we have these classes. So what are these classes exactly? These want to be the new way that we handle abilities and stuff. I'm not totally sold on them. I don't think they need to be game assets. Let's think about this for a second. I think these can be Pocos. I don't think they need to be game assets. I like what I did with them. I just don't think they're needed. So let's give this guy a new home. This abstract over here. Make sure that he's okay. Looks like he's okay. Delete all of this. So this guy is an abstract class. With abstracts, we never actually instance them. So there's never should be a time when this gets instanced. However, in this game, maybe I should make it a layer underneath this. We have game asset. I don't know. But in this game, I've decided everything in this game that is an asset will have two additional components besides a name and an ID, obviously. Are elements. In other words, what element that thing is tied to, as well as Aether. So basically, how much of that item is related to like the power of that item, or how much magic that item effectively has in it. This means that if you try to like equip a sword and your own personal Aether is not high enough, you won't be able to equip it. Likewise, there's going to be a stat for your own control. So as you equip stuff, it's going to consistently, like you can equip whatever you like, but it will consume Aether. And if you go over the amount of Aether that you can actually control, your own personal Aether can control, then it'll start to have negative effects on you. So this game is going to be very heavy on traits and status effects and stuff like that. Could be that it weakens you, it starts draining your health, whatever. It makes your stamina go slower, things like that, right? Or it could lead into aether poisoning and all kinds of good stuff. So basically, you can't just go around and drink the potion of ungodliness or things like that and become incredibly ungodly powerful, right? Because it might have a high aether value, and if you can't actually withstand that, then you might poison yourself and die. So that's where I'm kind of going with it. Or forget abilities. Like, there's going to be all kinds of stuff I'm thinking of going with this. So, yeah, we're going to do that. This is going to be serialized field. I'm not sure if I should do it at this layer, though. That's the problem. We have game asset. And then under the game asset, we should probably have something abstracting this out a little bit. So probably... Probably we should have like a class called asset info underneath this. Yeah, okay. We can do that. You know, naming stuff is the hard part, so let's not do this here. But we are going to give this its own script, because that'll give us a lot of freedom with it. So let's do that. Okay. So now here we can just do public abstract class game asset. I swear, I don't have Android on this, so it's annoying me just seeing Gradle. Like, I just did some stuff for a Catacomb Crawler, and my frontal lobes are burning every time I see this Unity Gradle thing pop up. Let's see, element asset. And these are going to be, I don't know if uints, I think uints do display, they can be serialized. Right? And this is going to lead into other things. So like when you decide that you want to try to like power yourself up and increase your own aether, you might be able to like have a style of martial arts that allows you to pull aether from items. Like it's going to be all kinds of stuff. Like I have a bunch of stuff in my head that I've been trying to like keep track of and just like get them out onto code. So element asset doesn't actually need to target game asset. Does it need to be a scriptable object though? Do we benefit? Yes, we do benefit from having this be. Okay. No, we don't. We actually don't. We don't gain any benefits from this. this is one of the things. So if Nick, if you're still there, this is actually, I think, where Roman got messed up. Because what he did was he looked at elements, and it's a very simple trick to fall for, right? It's like, it's a trap, basically. He confused the element with the damage. So these are actually two different things, right? So element is really something that you can just use an enum for, I guess. Like, you can get away with doing that. I'm not doing that here, but you could do that. However, the damage type can basically, it's actually functionality. It's actually, well, yes, you can sort of say the element can have functionalities, but the element is actually just a definition. It doesn't hold anything more than just it being something that can be used as an identifier. The damage type, we don't know what that could be, right? Until you assign functionality to it. So we assume fire burns, right? But does fire burn, let's say, a wall? If so, how? How does it do that? That's the functionality that you would assign to the damage type that the wall would suffer. The wall would obviously suffer different types of damage than a person would, or a piece of paper would, right? Water doesn't burn the same way. So what you would use to dictate that would be the element, not the damage type. You'd say, okay, this element is capable of doing this to this wall. And then you just drag and drop the element in there, which creates a layer of abstraction. Because now you might have, let's say, fire do that, but let's say you have the light element, and you want to shoot laser beams, and you want the wall to still have the exact same effect. Or let's say it's a crushing element, and now you can't reuse that. Instead, you have to now copy-paste the code and do all kinds of janky stuff in order to get the exact same effect of, let's say, the wall crumbling or blowing up or whatever. So anyway, we can turn these into assets. I'm trying to think of any... Yeah, they should be assets. So let's do game asset. Alright, and we just do serialized field. We don't need this. I think that's it. We can just do this. This is all we need from it. Because this class is taking care of most of everything already, once we put in the asset name. Alright, we kind of already then know what the element is. Anything else? Oh, probably we want... Do we care about weaknesses and stuff like that? No, not really. Not at this level. Oops. Okay, what else? So now we have our element and we have our Aether quantity, right? Then the next thing that we're going to want to start making in order to get back into pace with our game, let's make some of the simplest stuff. First we're going to be making some stats. So let's do... Okay. What else isn't going to be using info?
Move your body.
I think that's it. I think it's basically stats and element. Those are the two things that will just not be using asset info. So they're kind of like at the same level where they're just one step away from game asset. Now everything else should be using asset info. So let's start working on those. Let's build the stats real quick actually. Nah, should we do that? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So the very first thing, we're gonna approach this super simple. Really what we need from this is
Move your body.
Really what we need from this is the names. I think that's all we need from this. Right? We need the names and we need the definitions. So what we can do is we can do something like this. We're going to stick with integers for stats from now, right? I'm going to make that decision. It's an executive decision. So we need a min value for the stat, and we need a max value for the stat. We need to also give ourselves some public access to these values. My favorite pattern here in the world is to do that. Yeah, IDE knows it's so favorite, it did it twice. Goated. So basically, we're just giving ourselves public access to those two. We already, remember, at the game asset level, we already have a name for this asset. So we can name this whatever we want at that level, and then we can just set the minimum and maximum value for the stat. That's really all this needs, I think. Like, we don't need to go fancy with it on this one. Okay. We're going to do the same trick we did before and give all of these their own classes in it, or scripts in a second. All of these classes their own scripts, except the abstract ones. I think they can all stay here. So why do we do that? Because you can't. So with these, for example, we're going to have to do something like create asset. Is it create asset menu? Create. Oh gosh. Create. Tell you right now. Yeah, this is it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This looks like it. So we go file name. Oops. Let's call this game. Call this script element or new element. And we're going to put this under menu name. It's going to be, let's call it game data. I don't think we even need that, actually. So to help ourselves out, let's actually set this up a little bit. So we can go public const bring game data. This will help us out later on. And we also want to do it again for... No, I guess that's it. Because we're always going to forget what we write here later, so it's just good to have that. We can just do this. Okay, and so instead of doing this, we can just do game data. Right, and so now we can just do all this other good stuff. Does Unity have... wait, what? Okay, hold on. Lose my... had made enums for the damage types. Yes, I'm sad about it. It's a trick. It's I consider it a trap. It really is a trap because it feels like they fit. I mean, enums are super useful, but just not in that. I mean, it depends on where you're going to go with it. Right, if you already know your game will only have 3 elements, 5 elements, or whatever, like you're never going to really extend it any further, you're 100% certain on that. Enums are the way to go. But if you are going to extend it and you've already built systems around it, you end up in a very weird place very quickly. I'm not talking about like in this case where you're coming back a year later to mess with a project. I mean, In the middle of it, you decide, oh, I need an additional element for this. Oh, wait, I need to put an enum. Oh, wait, I need new systems. Oh, wait, I need new interactions. Oh, wait, there's duplicate code. I need to make a new class for that duplicate code. Like, that's rough. Right? And that happens because you don't abstract out. Okay. Does Unity have a built-in mobile game joystick already? I don't believe they do. I think they do. Yes. No. I think they do. Hold on. Pretty sure they do. And you can look it up. But I'm pretty sure they do. The Bopple Battle Dev made a fixed array for all abilities, separate one for all icons, scripts, and stuff. You can't add abilities via modding because of that. Yeah. Public. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do. Public class. There's only so much you can do when things are just, oh gosh, arrays are nightmares. I don't know if Relly is around, but I work with Relly, and when I got into his code side on I think it was for the champions, it's still the same way. Like I've out of spite I haven't redone it, and because he also has it attached to a custom inspector, I just said, okay, we'll leave it like that. But it's like I'm looking at it and I'm like, you have an enum, you have an array, or it's a list, I forget. I think it's an array. No, I think it's a list at one level that's keyed to an enum, right? And then that list is then indexed to an array of growth patterns. And it's like, I kind of want to kick myself in the head because I've looked at it so much now, it actually makes sense to me to do I feel a bit dirty when I think about, like, oh, you know, I could possibly do it. Like, no, don't do it that way. Do not do it that way ever. It's, you know, it's a way to get it done. I always say there's many ways to skin a cat. Like, if I was going to do something like that, what I would do is I would just make a dictionary, and then I would have a method that would just pluck the information out that I needed, right? Like, you're going to see me do that all the time here. Ah. But it's just programming. It's like we have to deal with problems and we have to figure out how to solve those problems. And that was the way that he did it. But yeah, if somebody wanted to mod the game after, it would be freaking a nightmare to set that up just for that one. Alright. So we do public class. So now we're going to be setting up what? We have the element. Oh, let's do items. So these are going to be the stuff that now are going to be tied into the asset info. So like items, we're going with item asset and asset info. Okay, we're going to be moving on from this a little bit, but we're going to be coming back to it because now we're going to be making the different types of items. I'm doing this all in one script, really, so for the viewer who is like, it's very clear what I'm implementing here. This is just inheritance, so it's just to show I'm going to be implementing definitions here, and you've already seen it, right? Like, there's stuff here, and I've made a point of explaining it, that I no longer need to type again here. Like, I don't need to go here every single time and enter in the element and aether of this. And I don't need to go here and enter in every single time the name of the different items. It's all just inheriting this. Simple inheritance. So over here now, we might want to have something like, let's say, So now this is where enums become useful, right? We can do something like this. Yeah, let's make this out here. Right? And so stuff like this, we could put elements as an enum, and that would be fine. But the damage types we shouldn't associate the element then with anything more than what the damage type describes. If that makes sense, right? But we're also going to be pigeonholing ourselves. I'm not going to relitigate all of that I just said, but basically, it's nice to have, you can do it either way, but you're going to run into modularity issues if you go the enum route, downflow, if you ever need to extend stuff. Unless you're really thinking ahead and you've planned for dealing with that, then I haven't experienced that myself. I've always found it that I ended up getting pigeonholed and ended up having to just say, okay, let's make a data class. Let's make a class or a struct out of it. But item quality, not so much. Like, I haven't had to deal with... You know what? Let's do that. Let's turn this also into... Because there's stuff that I can do with this if I turn it into a scriptable object. So let's actually do that. And this just shows you how interchangeable the two are. Or we could just do it this way. All right. And over here, we can do something like... Right? So let's say now we can apply some modifier or something. Like, this is just overkill, but we could apply some modifier to this that maybe weapons that, like, the same weapon will now hit harder because we add the modifier to it based on the quality. You get what I'm saying? Instead of having to create a whole new system for dealing with that, we just have the value here and we can write it ahead of time. I mean, that's basically what scriptable objects are for. The linchpin of all of this is having, and this is part of, I think, what would help a lot of devs, not just Roman, but because it helps me a lot, is having this game asset link, which goes back to the ability to find assets wherever you need them, whenever you need them. Okay, so let's keep going.
I want to bump a beat that goes hard.
Congrats.
Puppet. 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 I wanna bump a beat that goes hard. I wanna bump a beat that goes hard. Poppin' bottles, knocking models. Poppin' bottles, knocking models. Poppin' bottles, knocking models. I wanna bump a beat that goes hard.
1 second there. I just realized something.
Puppet. Puppet. Puppet.
There we go.
Puppet. I wanna bump a beat that goes hard.
There you go. That was too quick of a click. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, back to it. Right. So now with equipment, it's a little bit different. We kind of. All right. Now I promise you, this is a good place for an enum. This is actually a good place for an enum, because we know that what we're going to have, right? So we can just do this here. There we go. Damn it. What happened? I mean, your character is pretty decked out, man. Like you're balling right now. So I don't even know. You're okay. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, equipment slots, like we know that we're going to have no modification needs, like because something is equipped to your head slot, we're going to apply specific definitions beyond the scope of what equipment normally does, right? Which is just, we're going to create a position for this in a dictionary, and whatever is on the value end of that is what is equipped into that slot. Like, that's what we're going to do with this. So in that case, an enum is perfectly fine. What slot should we have in this game? We can do stuff, right? Well, obviously we need a weapon. We need... For now, let's leave it as weapon. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on, like, armor and things like that yet. Oh, but, yeah, basically we just define... But this is the... Personally, I say this is the proper way to use scriptable objects. We don't expect to throw things back in here to mutate this data. It should be this data is the blueprint, effectively. Alright, I think this is good enough. What else do we need to implement? We have items at... Oh, consumables. So let's do a little bit of sanity checking here. First off, we have equipment. Equipment inherits item asset. Item asset basically just defines the quality of whatever item that we're dealing with, in this case equipment. The maximum quantity that we can have, this is going to be dealing with stacking in inventory. Right? So each, you can have as many of these as you're going to want in your inventory. The max quantity deals with the amount in that slot. So actually, let's change its name. That's better. Okay. And sorry. And then this inherits asset info. Asset info, let's go up a little bit. There we go. So this is all in the same thing. Um, hold on. So asset info implements an element asset, gives us the Aether quantity that we had talked about earlier. That all items and things like that in the game will use. Right? And that's basically it. And then they all inherit game asset, which is going to be used in our asset locator that we had made previously. And that is going to allow us to get access to all of our scriptable objects while we're developing the game from anywhere in our code base. All right. Right, and so this class is an abstract class, so we never actually make this. Same as this. They're just inheriting for data's sake. All right, let's. What do we need for consumables? So consumables are a little bit tricky, right? Because really, what consumables do is very random. So in this case, we kind of want to abstract out. We know that we're going to use the name consumable asset, but we need to abstract out for the various types of consumables. But are there anything that all consumables share, like just all of them? Aside from that, they can be consumed. I don't think there's anything more that we haven't already captured above that all consumables share. Right? So we can actually call this class an abstract class. We should never make this class stuff, so we should probably move this up with the rest of our abstracts, because they're all going to remain in this script. And let's make it look a little nice. Unless later we decide to add extra things. Do that. Takes up less space. And for now I'm going to keep this here, because I feel like this is obviously going to become its own thing. Alright. So as far as consumables go, the other types of consumables that we can worry about, that I know that we're going to be having in this, is public, class, poison, consumables, asset, consumable, asset, public, class, recovery. I hope it can be clear where I'm going to go with this. Public, class, healing. Alright, and over here, public. So we don't need this, actually. Let's do this way. This is what I mean, like, naming things is difficult in programming, because I just was about to go into a tirade. Public, class, ooh, hold on. Let's go back up here. We have an actual pattern that I could use for this. All consumables share one thing in common. Shame on you guys for not figuring this out. They all apply effects. We just need to abstract out that effect. So let's get rid of this. And we can say this. Public, or rather, serialized field. Stop, there we go. And let's make this a list. Okay. Okay, so that's a consumable. And now our next trick is to make that effect asset. No, I don't think they need to have info. They can just be straight up game assets. Okay. And these just need to have serialized field. We need to know what stat we're targeting. What did we name it? Stat asset. Okay. Okay, so this effectively defines an effect, right? And the amount of change that we want to apply based on that effect. We also have the element that that effect is going. This next is now going into what we're dealing with. So we can say, okay, we want to target this stat and change that stat by this amount. So now the question is, or actually we could just do this. So this is how long the effect will last, or effect duration, we should call it. Right? And what else should we do with this? I think that's it. I can't think of anything more we could do with this. We have the stat that we're trying to target, the amount of change we want to apply to that target, and the effect duration. Maybe we can do... What else? Oh, whether or not it continuously applies the effect. Or if it's like a sustained, or if... So let's do it like this. Make enum public. So tick-based means that it's just going to repeat over and over again for the duration. Then the other one is... Okay, we need to consider behaviors. So these are going to be our definitions for how we apply behaviors, I guess. Is that what we want to do? Or we can be good programmers and we can do it like this. So this is one of the pigeonholes, right? Typically when you hit this wall as a designer, you should probably take a step back, especially if like if the experience level is lower, where you can't just have something in your head and say, oh, this is how we did it in this case. So just take a step back, because it'll lead into very bad decisions like just making an enum for no reason. Okay, so effect behavior. So what we're going to do, let's explain it to myself. The effect behavior, the idea behind it is each one of these effects, we're going to abstract the way that these effects behave. So while these effects will all share, actually I should start with answering this question. Why aren't we just inheriting the behavior that these effects should have? Why are we making a separate class for it when we've done inheritance through all of this? It's a good question. We could do that. The problem is we're kind of locking ourselves on the design side, because there's another side to this, which is on the Unity inspector, where now we have to deal with Unity's limitations with regards to things like what type of classes it can show in the inspector. Then when we make the class, we might decide, oh, I actually don't want that kind of behavior, right? But we still want the regular like targeting of things like that. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a behavior pattern here that we'll be able to do something like this. Right? So we know how much we're going to change. We know how long we're going to change it. Right? And then in here we're going to define things like do we change it intermittently? Does it decay over time? These are the different kinds of behaviors these effects can have. Right? And so this will exist not at this level. Effect behavior asset. Let's create this out first. And then we'll have the public. Okay, there we go. So the idea is that each one of these asset types will generate a specific, this is abstract, will generate one of these, right? And that's the idea. And so inside of this, all this really needs is public extract. Okay. Oops. And we're going to make a constructor for this. So it will be so this, we're just going to make this, because these will not show on the inspector. So we can get away with doing silly things. Where is it? So this is an interesting one. We kind of want this. So this is where we're thinking about, okay, data persistence. We want to be able to save our game, right? Well, Unity has, we're going to use JSON, by the way, to save. So what I am going to do, because we have our asset locator and so on, and in order to increase the speed that the game serializes and deserializes at, instead of serializing objects directly, and because you just can't with these anyway, like, and then recreating the classes, we can serialize just the address number, this thing that we generate right here, which is this thing, in order to re-identify what asset we were actually pointing to. And that will then populate the rest of the data for us, instead of having to serialize the entire thing. So if any player decided, or any ambitious player decided to, hey, I want to go in and see how this item is, and I want to change its attack power to a bajillion, all they will see is just a number pointing to something else. They have to actually go to the correct asset that it's pointing to. What asset that is, you got to do the legwork to figure that out. But if you figure it out, you can change the original asset's value. Right? And so that's how it goes. What does it say? I need to update modded. Hey. My mobile YouTube crashes when I join. Okay. I think the moderator thingy that appears for one frame might have something to do with it. Now it works. Awesome. I need to update the modded app I'm using. Yo, my #1 top interest in YouTube recap is exploring game figures. Why is that? No, it makes sense, Nick. It does. Roman Lecco is my #5 top watch. Really? Well, that's crazy. He literally just started posting again. Out of 1768 channels I've seen this year. That is impressive. That is very impressive. Let's see. So wait, does that mean like you went back and watched his live streams or something? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You made a wiki for Roman? Let's see. Okay, so effect behaviors. Did you capture, like, did you have a category for all of his sus moments? Let's see. So we have the different behaviors. The only thing that we need here is actually the address for this. Well, we're going to track it and the address. So we need to have the and we have to remember to make these protected. That way, so in order to keep these private, but still keep the information passing down, that's why we apply protected to them. So now, when we do stuff like or Okay, there we go. Mihazi is great. I believe you. Let's see. So now we're going to do this. We're going to do a public. So do we need this for this? I think we do. Yeah, we do. Effect behavior. We don't need this here. This should be over here. No, this shouldn't be here at all. I think autocomplete just did that. Like, why would I have the duration there? It's already up here. Long. Capis? That's basically it. But now we can do something like save or load or whatever we want here. Of course, you need to do something like this. Don't ever forget to do serializable. Well, we have to do this. There we go. Okay. And that'll help us later. You have to do it for each one. FYI. Okay. And now because we've given this a constructor, we can get away with doing some really cheeky stuff. So let's do that. So now the overtime effect, we have to rely on the, that we just need to collect a couple of things, right, from this in order for the overtime effect to work properly. We haven't made them yet, but it's still good to make them. So let's do let me see, it's over here. I think combatant is what I named them. Combatant. And then we could call that the target. And from here, we just do the int current duration, or current runtime, let's call it that. And then we're just going to do this, because we will want access to that at some point. Maybe for like things like oh, we also need that here. Let's do that here, public. So like if we want to do durations, so we can do what the current time is by the effect duration and then make like a bar out of that to figure out how long an effect is supposed to last. We're going to stay away from some complex logic on this for a second. We're going to apply that logic inside of the apply call. And that also then means that we need to do did we do it that way? No, let's do it this way. So now that since we've separated it out, we can actually do something like this. So if we have another effect asset here, when this gets applied, we can check to see if this effect asset has a next level. And then when we try to when we try to apply this effect again, we're going to, instead of applying this effect, we'll just remove it immediately. And then apply the next level instead if the creature already has the effect. Right? Okay, good. Did we do a previous level also? Like, should effects be able to tone themselves? I think so, yeah. Right. We should do it underneath, yeah. Not all effects will have next levels and previous level. But you can already see where I'm going. There's another way to handle this, which is to just increment a number. So, like, let's say I wanted to stack effects. So in this case, I don't want to stack effects, right? Like, if you get hit with bleed, and then you get slashed again, and you have, like, bleed 2. Bleed 2 is a completely different effect. It doesn't stack bleed. And it's not like a second stack of bleed. But you could easily do that it would just take a little bit of reworking, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to create a whole new effect, and that'll be bleed 2, and we get rid of the current effect. That's the idea. Okay. Alright, this is just to make the point of what base does. So, when we do virtual or I do abstract, well, actually, it's virtual, not abstract. Sorry about that. Ignore what I just said. When we do virtual, we can get back to this call just by calling base apply, which lets us know to go specifically one step up in the inheritance path, which leads us right back to this one. If this one is also overriding something, we'd have to call base here to go one step up again. Okay, so I'm debating. Like, what I'm getting hung up on is if I should make a second effect for this, but I don't think so. I think what I'm going to do is just do this. So we need to get access to the asset. So first we get the target, and then we say did I name it? Yeah, it's right here. That's asset dot. We're looking for the. Oh, we need to make this public. There we go. All right. And so then we can just do asset dot behavior. Wait, what are we targeting? Affect behavior. Okay, whoops. So we need to get the change. Actually, that's what we need to do. We still need to know. Oh, I must have deleted it. We still need to know the stat that we're targeting, so we have to put that back in. There we go.
Saw you in a field of ice and snow,
There we go.
holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my
Right. So now this is going to tie into something that I think we want to take care of. This has always been like a little pet project of mine, to make a global ticker kind of thing. Like, I think every game benefits from doing it at the very beginning. So let's just make that class super quick. Or probably, should I just make it from scratch or just grab it from my other project? I think I have it in my other project. Let's see. Nope, I don't have it. We're gonna make it from scratch. Okay. We'll do it live. Alright, so we'll just do it right here. Okay. So I did this intentionally to just describe. There's tons of other ways to do this. And don't worry about this. We're going to be... So what's wrong with this is that it just needs a constructor. And we're about to make this in a second. But this is just going to be the thing that drives this. So I'm introducing the partial keyword here, just to show the differences between this and inheritance, right? So here we can do something like this. Oh, it's not reading it. Okay, gotcha. Whispers in the air, got your face stuck in the mirror, and I keep finding your hair. Got a big box in my closet with the fall pictures we took. Oh, and I keep finding dog ears that you left in my books. So I think we're going to make each tick 3 seconds in this game. And then we're going to elevate ourselves a little bit because we're going to be getting into event programming in a second. And so you're going to see what some of the benefits of that are. But right now we're inside of an update loop, or we're about to be inside of an update loop. This is going to be called in update in our game manager. So we don't actually use the base tick for anything besides just having a way of knowing how many ticks have gone by since the game started. Okay, so super simple. What we're doing here, let's break down the keywords. We're introducing statics, which means that this doesn't, this has one single instance, right? It doesn't exist, or rather, it's not instanced. You don't need to instance this into your project multiple times. It's just one case of a static class that exists the moment that you've hit play or start your game, whatever, right? It comes into being. Its values will be initialized. Here we can choose to create an initializer for it, and then we just store now as a partial class. This is going to come up in a second. We're about to explain what this is for. The on-game time tick. So there are tons of different events that we can use. Think of an event kind of as like a megaphone. When you use it, you can blast out information to everyone. But it's not exactly a megaphone. Think of it like a megaphone, but with every one of your listeners having selective hearing. Because then, once you do the invoke and call out and pass whatever it is that you want to pass through it, doesn't need to be what I just put in. Everything that is subscribed to this will then respond as a result of that. For example, I could do something like, well, that's a lambda. So let's do it out here. Yeah. Okay. So this will listen for it, or this qualifies to listen for it because it will accept an integer. So I could do this. And now foo will subscribe to on-game tick. Right? There's no real reason to do that if you do a static. You don't need to subscribe to that. You could always just call the static from anywhere else in your code. You don't need to subscribe statics, or you shouldn't normally subscribe statics. But it is what it is. If you do you. Okay, so let's now explore the benefit of using partial. So I have made this class, but I want other things that can use this system as well. So what we can do is no, I think, yeah. There we go. All right. So now we have our situation here, but we still need. This is one of the. This is one of the little tricks now with statics, right? Because these don't fall into Unity's update cycle. Statics. So we need a way of telling this, hey, at some point you need to register this with this. So how do we do that? We're outside of the update loop. Well, we have a bunch of ways to do that, actually. One way is we could do something like, we could make a new method, make it public, and then call it init, or something like that. Void init. Right? And then in init, we could just do something like right? Now this leads to our first problem. This doesn't match because we need to put this into here. Now we'll never use it, but still, we need that for the signature. And that's how events work, or at least action events. There's also funcs and stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically it. So now what we would do is from somewhere else we would be able to call just gametime.init. But this isn't a good method for our case. So we're gonna just make this private. And we'll just call this. Okay. That should be it. And just for sanity's sake, we're going to do this. It never hurts to do that. And pull yourself out, just in case there's some straggling piece of this in memory somewhere. Okay, and now this is an entirely self-contained timer system that all we have to do now is just throw this into our game manager. So let's go over there. And it should have an update loop somewhere. Usually I put an update loop at least in my game manager. Usually. There it is. Oh, we already had a game time. Oh, we have a better one now. There we go. Okay. The heck? It was literally named game time. Why didn't it give me an error? Oh, I see. Let's comment this out then. What are we looking at? Ah. And we just need to go up here and comment this one out. Right. So with that said, we've just made a super extendable way to handle game time. Right? And we could shorten this if we wanted to. Like, we could go make this 1, and then leave this at 3, and just have something else listen to this, and so on and so forth. Right? And it becomes very clear, the pattern here. That's the benefit of using partial class. And it keeps your code organized. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so we need to fix this up so this has access to stats. We're eventually going to make stats also, but we're just kind of trying to get this code to be functional. Alrighty then, should be over here somewhere. There it is, okay. No, this is the, should we do get actor? I guess. So this is the old way of doing it. Well, this is leading down the rabbit hole. I'm not ready to go into these areas yet, so because we're going to be redoing the actor and everything, so I guess how can we work around this real quick? I don't want to use the old way of doing it, but that way was really working. So I'm like, I want to see where this leads. So the old way that I would do it is I would make an access type for dealing with. So I've introduced events over here, so now it's going to build into events properly. You know what? Let's stop it out here. Let's just build this, and let's start getting into our actor. So let's do this, because that's kind of important. It's kind of important. It's a little important. So we just need to do this. Yeah, I guess it's good to have that. Okay, good stuff. Should we track also? Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah, that's fair. Oops. Hey, good morning, Nepal. Okay. This looks like it would function fine. Let's get over to our actor. Because that's fairly important. I think what we're going to end up finding out is... I mean, is it possible to keep building this side of it out without having to get into actor? Like, I want to stick to just data right now because we've already disabled game time. Let's let me check what game time is doing. Let me see what broke, because it could be that we could just run. Well, let's look at what the original game time had in it, and then we're going to set our timers here to work exactly the same. And then just go around and change the events that are listening for it. That's all we have to do. So where is our game manager? Right here. Should be down here somewhere. Oh, so we're using Unity actions? Tick, half tick, double tick? Okay. So things that we're listening to, tick, half tick, and double tick, need to just be changed to listen for. And what we're... So a regular tick the irregular tick's cooldown was 1. So we set every 1 second was a regular tick. And then we had half tick, which was obviously 0.5. So we'll do something like this. Let's go back to our new system. Well, first let's actually see what was using it, because we might not have to do so much work. As soon as Unity stops contemplating life, we'll get into it. Okay, there we go. Alright, so only 3 places we're really relying on it. And it's just tick, tick, and half tick. So something was using half tick. Got it. Okay. So from now on, half tick is just going to be tick. This is going to be long tick. There was another one, right? I think it was this one. Yep, there we go. Half tick, and then a long tick. Okay, got it. So with that done, we can save these, go here. And we can just change this, the name of these, from that to tick. So you saw before I had used different event, right? I was using Unity event before. For this one, I'm just using system action. It's the same thing, effectively, getting done. It's the same job that they're both doing. Okay. How are you doing, Nepal? Just dropping by? Okay. And here we're just going to call tick. And that's it. That's all we have to change. The game should work perfectly fine now. That's... Like, I'm trying to still keep the game functional so I can, like, once in a while drop by and do things. Ah, the listeners. That's weird. Both of them were listening to the same thing? Wounded data. Why was it doing it twice? 139, 150. Oh, it was unsubscribing. Gotcha. Okay, that was a good catch. I did not even see that we weren't unsubscribing from it down here. There should always be, that's another trick, there should always be an even number of these, unless you're 100% sure when you destroy, you're destroying all connections. That's the only caveat to doing it this way, with static event calls. Okay, that's good enough. What is this class? Life cycle system. Handler bind is taking in. Alright, we'll just do this. So all we did here was just overload this, because one method was doing one thing, the other method was doing the same thing, but slightly different, just because of the signature. So instead of having to go through everything and just redoing it all, we just overload the method. What makes it work is that we just change the signature a little bit. So Unity is thinking. There we go. Alright, let's see if the game works. Okay, we're still functional. We need to turn our weapon on. There we go. Okay. Things still work, nothing breaks. All things that were old are still connected. Values are still changing. We don't have the... Oh, there it is. Yeah, we have regeneration still. Do we? Yes, we do. Okay, awesome. These values don't change, though. I don't know if they ever changed, actually. They probably did. Okay. Whatever. Imagine all of this started because I wanted to change my targeting system. Okay. So it looks like what this lifecycle handler is doing is... Oh, this was my, oh, this is so cute. Okay. Yeah. I remember when I was doing this. There's this little fancy little system I made about 7 months ago now. I was trying to... This was supposed to represent everything. You could create custom life cycles and stuff like that from anywhere in script. But we're going to follow a more linear path. We're not going to use the system in the end. I love it, though. Like, this was so cool. Okay, let's keep going. Ugh. We're going to call it in a little bit. About maybe like another 10-15 minutes. Because I feel like it's just about review time for the most part. I've spent a lot of this stream just showing off some of the more let's say intermediate intermediate level approaches to design. And I think I'm going to just spend the time to implement next. I'm probably going to spend Sunday doing it, I think. I'm trying not to overwork myself, because believe me, I've spent the whole week on this type of stuff. Oh, I kind of need the time. Where is the actor report? That's not it. Stat manager, not it. Okay. Here. 3 hours playing Cloudheim? I was looking at it on Steam. It's got rampaged. Like somebody, I don't know what it is. I think it's their internet situation, their matchmaking and so on. People are like, they're using. So it's weird. Way back when, it was bad, but it was never such a bad thing that you downvote a game because they had peer-to-peer matchmaking. Right? Like, you understood what you were getting into. So I would really probably have to, like, see the game played or play the game to find out what exactly about peer-to-peer doesn't work for this game. Because peer-to-peer is a well-known way of handling multiplayer. So maybe it is, like, they just didn't they want certain things to be tracked, like certain progression to be tracked. That's probably what it is. But yeah, on Steam, I saw the reviews, and it was like, I think it was getting into mostly negative. I can't recall. Okay, so yeah, let's do a quick review of what we've done. So the linchpin of all of this to work is this game assets script, right? What this will do is we'll create a scriptable object, and it's only one of these should ever live. If you want to do this, only one of these should ever live in your project. We have the game assets. We store this here, and we store it as game assets as game asset. Because we're going to use this later. So Unity doesn't like to serialize dictionaries, but we're going to use this later to collect that information to produce this dictionary once we hit the play button. In other words, once the player decides to start the game, it creates this dictionary using this list. Once we do that, we then create a private instance. So this is actually probably should be internal, but it's belongs strictly to this object. It allows us that when we make this get call, what we're actually doing is making an instance to call to this specific scriptable object. Now, in order for this to work, we have to actually enable this. So this knows what instance it's dealing with. For that, we have here our onEnable, which will set the instance to this, but just in case we want to run ensure lookup. And ensure lookup runs build lookup. This, again, happens at the very beginning of the game, the moment that you open up your game. And then from here, we ensure that our lookup is actually built. And if it and we also try to make sure that we are connected. This is happening locally, this part, or sorry, on the instance, so we don't have to worry about static here. And we also have a rebuild. This is, again, on editor time, but over here, when we do this get, we also try to make sure, like, if for some reason this instance is null, this is for debugging, but I let myself know because we should technically never get here once this is running proper. And I have not seen it get here because of failure here. But it's going to initialize a static instance if this is null. This should not be null because this is set during onEnable, which happens when we press the play mode button. We do run ensure lookup, which internally just makes a quick check. If we already have everything, then we don't build the lookup. So it's not a heavy call. And then finally we have our lookup here from our table, which again, no GC, just raw lookup. And we have our throw here. So recall at the very beginning of the video, I showed when to start using throws for null references. This is a good place because we're just doing this. Now this will generate some garbage because we are allocating after we produce the get. But this is good for this. If we were using like something like this, try get, right? We don't need the throw. And of course we have our get all, which will just get all objects. Like let's say I want every stat type in the game. So let's say like I'm instancing a new character and I just want to get all of the stats. I can just do this. I can do something like this. And this will get me all of the stats in the game right now. Right? And then I can just create or compose a character based on all of the stats that I get. Okay. That's it. So then from there, we just have some simple, well, I shouldn't say simple, right? Because I've heard that's it, but basically some regex stuff. And this will produce a properties class that will just basically have public static of this for me. We do have to create some helpers, so I made like this, like sanitize name here. which basically will just clean up whatever I write in here because this is based on like object names, and Unity's or sorry, the IDE compiler will fail for a lot of symbols that you might put in. So we want to weed those out basically. And finally, you saw the last part, the game asset part, which was being built, right? Like we're just building out the game assets. I got into game time, and that's part of why I said, okay, let's call it here because I'm doing other things now. But basically, yeah, this is going to be our new game time system. It's gonna work. All right, folks. Have a wonderful day. Stay up and stay blessed.